thought that today I would do the mid-year book freakout tag. Now this has been around for a really long time, like I think since 2015, but I wasn't around in 2015 and I thought it would be a kind of nice way to just review a little bit of what I've been reading. I'm gonna do another video a little closer to the end of the month that will talk about like some of my thoughts on like how are my reading goals going and what do I see the upcoming rest of the year looking like and stuff like that. But for now, book freakout tag. So I'll link the original tags below, and also Books with Emily Fox is where I saw this tag. Apparently my cat is gonna hang out with me. I'm sitting in her chair. This is her chair. So she's annoyed. So I'll link the questions, the original tag creators, and Books with Emily Fox all below, so if you want to see those videos or whatever, do the thing. So the first question is the best book you've read so far this year, and I couldn't decide, so I picked two. First is Middlemarch, and I just was surprised at how much I really loved this book, and I think I'm gonna like it more and more as I think about it. And I actually am probably gonna reread it later this fall, and so that'll be really interesting. But it was just such a beautiful novel. It did all of the novel things that it should have. Eliot's understanding of human nature is just incredible. The characters were so well developed, just like in a way that I haven't seen almost anywhere else. It felt like she was writing about real people making real choices, and it was just such a good book. So even though it's 800 pages, I highly recommend it. It's like Dickens, but so much better. Just definitely one of my favorites. Another favorite is Michael Chabon's Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. I've kind of waxed poetic about this one already, so I won't say very much here, but I did a review that I'll link of this and another book. So this is about two cousins in 1940s New York and just them growing up and interacting with the golden age of comic book world, and it's wonderful for similar reason. I like it has similar characteristics to Middlemarch. The just really natural character development, really interesting people, really genuine natural depictions of life, all of that good stuff. So if you like one, you'll probably like the other one, so there's a little paired recommendation for you. Best sequel. So I'm trying to keep my recommendations and my discussion in the mid-year book freakout tag to like be honest answers, but also to reflect more of the literary fiction and classic books that I've read. But there aren't any sequels, at least not that I've read this year. So we're gonna go with Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor. I've talked a little bit about my Laini Taylor obsession. So this is the second book in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series, and I haven't read the third one yet. Maybe I would like the third one better, but so far, at this point in the year, this is the best sequel that I've read. What I really appreciated about this book is while it treats the things that are revealed at the end of the first book, I can't talk about it very well because it's a second book in a series. It deals with all of those things. It also avoids being a middle book in a series where you feel like the story kind of like picks up, you know, it just kind of like passes through on the way to the third book. Does that make sense? That's what I mean. This one avoids that. It very much has its own arc. The character development continues over the course of the story for both characters, and like you need the context of the first book to read this one, but like if the first book wasn't your favorite, you could read this as a standalone as long as you like know what happened. And like it leaves some threads dangling, but there's not a giant cliffhanger or anything like that. So like I've been interested and excited to read the third book, but I haven't felt like, oh my gosh, I have to get my hands on it right now, like she did in Strange the Dreamer. We'll get there. So really good, just great story. This is the UK cover, by the way. I don't like the US covers at all, so I bought the UK ones. New release that I haven't read yet, but want to. A new release that I want to read, but I haven't read yet, is Map of Salt and Stars by Jennifer Zainab Jukadar. I don't know. That's how it's spelled. Sorry. This is a dual narrative. It's about a girl who is trying to escape Syria in like the early 2010s, and she's following the same path of another girl who lived in the 12th century, who was Syrian and disguised herself as a boy to become a map maker. And so it's about the two women kind of being linked across time by this common path that they take. And I'm just really interested in Syria in general and in this story in particular, and I'm really looking forward to getting to it soon, hopefully this month. My most anticipated release for the second half of the year is Muse of Nightmares, which is the sequel to Strange the Dreamer, and that ending just, the waiting, guys, it's rough. I'm just fortunate that I didn't read Strange the Dreamer when it came out a while ago, and I haven't had to wait that long. The biggest disappointment, I forgot to grab this book. I always do that. I'll put the cover on the thing. Is Kafka on the Shore. I really wanted to love it. It had such an interesting premise, and it was such an interesting story, and I liked the magical realism, and like the writing was really good, but it just had a couple of scenes that I didn't like, and I didn't like the portrayal of sex, and I wasn't really fond of the portrayal of women, and it felt a little misogynistic and a little pretentious, and I was just kind of disappointed by it. Biggest surprise was probably the Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. I didn't know what to expect going into it, and it was such a great story, and I just liked it so much, and now I'm trying to convert everybody. So you should read it, because this is good. It really read like a Victorian classic. It had the same kind of focus and the same kind of character development, the same kind of scope. And so if you like classics, I just highly recommend Chabin as like a contemporary but classic writer. I really hope that his writing lasts because I think it's fantastic. Favorite new author, debut, or new to you? Well, those would be Laini Taylor for young adult, Michael Chabin for literary fiction, and George Eliot for classic fiction. She's not really new to me, I have to say. There's my cat again. Because I've read Silas Marner a couple of times actually, but I feel like just Middlemarch was such a revelation that she counts as being new. Newest fictional crush. Okay, I don't really do fictional crushes because, I don't know, a male character that I enjoyed in a book, Laszlo Strange, library nerd, reads all the books, obsessed with arcane things. I mean, you know, we'd be friends. Newest favorite character would probably be Dorothea Brooke from Middlemarch. Sorry, this is like Strange the Dreamer, Middlemarch, and the Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. Like, Dorothea Brooke is one of the major characters in Middlemarch, and I just really love her character arc. She is very idealistic and wants to save the world and thinks she knows how to do that, and she enacts her plan and it doesn't go the way she wants it to, and it's a really hard struggle for her to come to terms with like what's she gonna do. Is she gonna live according to her principles and do what she feels is right, even though it means that she might not actually get to accomplish the kinds of things she wants to with her life? I really appreciated seeing her go through that, and just the maturity that she gains at the end of it is really beautiful. She's definitely one of my new favorite literary characters. We would be friends too. A book that made me cry. Middlemarch. I don't really cry in books, honestly. Sometimes I'll get a little like teary-eyed or something, but Middlemarch, y'all. I'm not gonna pick it up, it's down there. A book that made me happy. Well, okay. Strange the Dreamer. I'm like right in front of the window, so everything's all flashy. Aside from the last 3 pages, which are rough, I just loved reading this so much. It's an adventure, it's a journey. It starts out as one thing and becomes another thing, and it was just such a pleasurable reading experience, and I really, really loved it. I have checked out like $1,500 worth of books from the library so far this year, And of all of those books, this one is one of the only ones that I've gone out and purchased afterwards. So that just says like how much I like it. And I bought the hardcover instead of the paperback because I want it to match Muse of Nightmares. So like, you know, I meant it. Another book that made me really happy was Circe, actually. I just was kind of left with some warm fuzzies. It was such, gosh, it's like reflecting off of my phone. I can't see anymore. Sorry. It just left me with the warm fuzzies. It was such a beautifully written book. It was very thoughtful. It was very poetic, and I really liked it, and it made me happy. It's not like a funny book or anything. Same thing with Strange the Dreamer, although there is some humor in Strange the Dreamer, but both of them just left me feeling really happy. The most beautiful book that I've read this year, okay, there's a couple. First, I really love the cover of Circe, the dust jacket. The UK edition is really pretty, but I actually like the US edition with the face. I think that's just so pretty. I really like it. Like, I would just display this for sure. It's really lovely. The inside is just kind of ordinary. Black. It does have really nice end papers with a map of Aia on it, and then just plain on the inside. Oh no, there's little ships. I forgot. As far as like in the book itself, minus the dust jacket, I have The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This is the Owlcrate exclusive cover, and I like it. I actually like the dust jacket of just the regular dust jacket better, but this is just so pretty. I love books that have like the embossed front, and then it's just this thick print on the side. I think the regular edition, it's embossed in silver, but I really like the gold. I just think that's so pretty. You have the crown and the roots and like the thorns and the flowers. It's beautiful. I might actually display it without the dust jacket. And then another book that it was kind of a cover by, TBH guys, is Children of Blood and Bone. Again with the dust jacket, like I like it, but the underneath is so pretty. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, and like I said, it was pretty much a cover by. The regular edition is black with silver or with gold, and I loved the red and silver. It's so shiny, and the spine is also just really beautiful. So that's me showing off those books because they're so pretty. The last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? All of them. I don't think ahead that far, to be honest. All of the books that I have to read for grad school is maybe one answer. Other answers. So here's, like, I'm bad at, I can't say, like, I'm definitely going to read these books this year, because I don't know, except for Muse of Nightmares, I'm definitely reading that one. But some books that I would like to read soon, I guess, maybe is what we'll go with. Beside Muse of Nightmares, I would really like to read at least one more book by Michael Chabon, just to see, like, do I like all of his writing as much as I like Cavalier and Clay. Some other books that I'd really like to read by the end of the year, I'd like to finish the Shades of Magic trilogy by V.E. Schwab. So I have just the last book to read, which is The Gathering of Light, I think. I've heard that's maybe not the best book in the series, and so I'm not like in a huge hurry to read it, although I want to read it soon because the ending of the second book was annoying. I'd also like to finish the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series, so the last book is Dreams of Gods and Monsters, and so I'd like to finish that. I'd like to read something by Brandon Sanderson. Books with Emily Fox has been like raving about all of his books. I decided randomly to like watch her entire back catalog. I'm not really sure why. So I've been doing that, and like every month she's like, Brandon Sanderson is amazing, and I really love fantasy, and so I feel like I tend to avoid adult fantasy because I just don't find it very interesting, and I find a lot of it kind of problematic, but I trust Emily's assessments of the kinds of things that I find problematic, and she hasn't had problems with Brandon Sanderson's work. So I'd like to maybe read the first book in the Mistborn series. Yeah, so like I've kind of been saying, and I'm gonna start sounding like a broken record, but oh well, with grad school coming up, I'm gonna be reading so much for that I really just like have no idea what I'm going to read otherwise, and so I don't have a ton of reading goals for the second half of the year, except I'm going to read Muse of Nightmares that is a thing that will happen. That's it, guys. I hope you liked this little glimpse into my world. Basically, if you want the TLDR version, it's Middlemarch, The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay, and Strange Dreamer. So apparently I have some favorites. And don't forget to subscribe if you would like to know when videos are coming out. And thanks for watching, and I will see you guys very soon.